Inflation in the United Kingdom has surged to a new 40-year high and is now in double digits. Britain is now facing rising food prices, a worsening cost of living crisis and the prospect of a recession.
A warning from the IMF, central bank intervention, disorderly currency movements.
Now the British pound has fallen to its lowest level ever against the US dollar.
Welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be talking about the shocking and the untold truth about why people are leaving England at the moment. According to the UK Parliament, the House of Commons, there have been about 400,000 young adults immigrating out of England. So in the past, people used to move to England mainly for studies and for work. But in the past 9 to 10 months, there have been almost 400,000 people that have decided to leave England in general to go to different European countries, most especially to different EU countries to study and to work. I suppose the main point of the video is why are these people leaving? What's going on in the UK? What's going on in England in particular? The first reason is the aftermath of Brexit. As we all know, England decided to leave or to exit the EU in 2016, and ever since this happened, England has been going through a lot of difficulties, both financially, investment wise, and a lot of other unforeseen difficulties that England has been going through since 2016, that the UK in general decided to leave or to exit the European Union. Due to Brexit, most companies that were planning to come to England to invest moved to different countries. For example, companies like Apple, companies like Amazon, companies like Facebook, Revolut, most of these companies were planning to extend their brand in England in general. But since England decided to exit the EU, these countries have decided to move their businesses to countries like Germany, France, Belgium, Luxembourg, like neighboring countries that are still in the EU. As a result of this, there was a big financial repercussion for England in general. Brexit caused a lot of shipment problems to England as well. For example, this company that wanted to invest in England before Brexit could get the raw materials from different EU countries in 2 days. But since England decided to exit the EU, the European Union, it takes minimum 21 days for the same companies that could get the raw materials from different European countries in 2 days. It literally takes 21 days for them to get the exact same product they could get in 2 days. So this is actually one of the reasons that most people are thinking not to even move to England in the first place, because everything is really hard and it takes a long time for anything to get in England at the moment. So due to this after effects of Brexit, there's less investment in the UK, there's less investment of people, less investment of product, less capital investment, as no one want to move to England to work, and no one want to move to England to study, no one want to move to England in general. For example, if someone is moving to England from a different continent, let's say someone from India is moving to England for study, before just having a UK visa, you were able to travel to the different European countries as England was part of the EU. But now everyone is thinking twice before moving to England, because since England isn't in the EU anymore, your UK visa can only allow you to travel to the UK countries of Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland. Before, you could go to other European countries free of charge. You didn't need to get a visa. That's one of the main reasons why people are shying away to come to England, and people that are already in England, they're moving out of England to enjoy the benefits, the freedom of movement and everything else you get when you're in the EU. The second reason is the loss of the EU advantages that England had. England had a lot of advantages when it comes to staying in the EU. So since they left the EU, they lost most or every single of their advantages. England and the UK in general lost all of their benefits of being in the EU, which were movement of goods and services, movement of people, that's where workforce, people moving from other countries like Poland and Germany and all these countries come to England and work. So they lost their freedom of labor, freedom of capital, because most people don't want to come to England or the UK to invest anymore. They lost most of the privileges of being in the UK, enjoy the free movement of goods and services, the free movement of capital, the free movement of labor. So how does England losing all your advantages in the EU affect people in the UK? Let's say, for example, someone that got a visa to come in the UK to study, like a student visa from a non-European country. Let's say someone got a visa from Nigeria to come in the UK and study. That visa, the UK visa that you used to get before, you could use that same visa and go to different European countries. There are 27 EU countries that you can use your UK visa and just visit. But now that England isn't in the EU, that's impossible. So that actually costs you more money now to live in England. Now this loss of EU privilege costs an immigrant more money to live in England than it would cost previously, because for someone to leave the England now to go to any other countries, to go to like Belgium, Germany, you need to get a visa, which that wasn't the case before. So you need to get a visa to go to any of these countries, and that costs you money to get a visa. But before, you could just show your ID, your passport card, your passport and anything, and just with your UK visa you could go to all of these different countries. So this is another reason why most people are leaving England and they're relocating to different countries like Germany and all the other European countries, the other 27 European countries that still enjoy the freedom of movement. The next reason is England is an unstable economy at the moment. Since England left the EU, the pound sterling has been dropping as a rocket. Literally since they left the EU, every single year the pound sterling have just been dropping down. The value of pounds is not compared to when England was still in the EU, and that's one of the big issue, because nowadays most countries don't want to do international trade with England as the pounds has been going so down. And as you know, England is the only country that use the pounds, so most people don't want to trade with England anymore. This has caused an unstable government in the UK in general. So in the past 4 months, there's been four different leaders in England. There have been 3 prime ministers in the past 3 months and 4 leaders in the past 4 months. 4 months ago, Boris Johnson was the prime minister of England. Then before the Queen died, Liz Truss became the next prime minister, and she lasted just 45 days as the prime minister before resigning to the new Indian origin prime minister known as Rishi Sunak. So imagine, just in the space of 4 months, there have been 3 different prime ministers in England. This has led to like a lot of dispute. This has led to an unstable economy, unstable government, and unstable country. When you're living in an unstable country like this always turns to make people to be like, what am I doing here? There's something wrong. So if everyone keep living, that means England has an issue. So this has caused most people to leave as well. So the next reason is the cost of living. As you know, everything is extremely expensive in England now since they left the EU. So for example, if you're shipping anything from any other country and it goes through England, you have to pay like extra custom duties. This wasn't the case before when England was still in the EU. But since they left the EU, there's been a lot of different taxes that people have to pay. A lot of excise duties, a lot of custom tax that you have to pay now. This has increased the cost of living for most people that live in England. And the cost of living in England as well has been skyrocketed in the past couple of months. When it comes to the Russian and the Ukraine crisis, England is one of the countries that has been affected the most after these 2 countries that are involved in the war. Because most countries, for example, all the 27 countries in the EU came together. Since this war started between Russia and Ukraine, England has been one of the most affected countries, because it's so hard for them to get these basic commodities from different countries. So due to this, everything in England has gone up. So the cost of living in England is way higher than it was in 2016 before they left the EU. And the final reason of why people are leaving England is the salary. So as you all know, in England you can't survive if you've got just one job. Most people in England and in the UK in general have more than one job, because if you work in England, like the minimum wage is really low, so people will be earning between 20,000 to 40,000, and 20,000 to 40,000 pounds to survive in England at the moment is literally a no-no. So the salary in England is extremely low at the moment due to high inflation, as England has one of the highest inflation at the moment. All of these reasons have made people running away out of England to better countries, to countries that they can survive with what they get. Because in England you can barely survive with one job. You need to have a minimum of 2 jobs in England to survive, and the wages in England are really low compared to different countries. Even though inflation is high in England, even though everything is high in England, but the wages in England have stayed stagnant. They haven't gone up, even though everything has gone up. So this is the main reasons why people are living out of England. Thanks a million for watching, and please don't forget to like, share and subscribe